And we've come across some really strange things over the years where diagnosis has been by the manufacturer, I won't mention the manufacturer, £18,000 for 2 control units.
Wow.
Place them in, problem's still there.
No.
Turns out it's 2 fuses, £40.
Oof. Is there any major difference between yours and manufacturer? Because there is one strikingly big difference, and that is the price.
Essentially, nothing. And I'll give you an example here. I was recently asked to provide a warranty for a LaFerrari because Ferrari wouldn't warranty it.
Why?
Because they wouldn't provide the cover for batteries.
How much?
130,000.
Hello and welcome to episode 10 of the GVE podcast, and today we are joined by AutoGuard. So we've got Steve and Mark from AutoGuard joining us today, and I've got George as well. So look, here's a common question that we get asked. A lot of people are intrigued about how much it costs to own a supercar, but how much does it actually cost to maintain a supercar as well? Now, after the 3 years, which is the normal kind of length of period that manufacturer will give for warranty, thereafter, either you have the option of going to your manufacturer to extend that warranty, or you can go to a third-party warranty provider, and that is exactly what AutoGuard is, right? Yep. And we've been working with you guys for many years now, so we just thought it'd be a really good episode to do, just so that people can see, actually, look, there are options rather than just being thrown a massive bill by a main dealer or manufacturer. They've got other options that they can explore. So, I mean, like, what do we do generally down here? So we'll go over what our process is in GVE, and then we'll go into...
So for us, I mean, having warranties is it's a must-have. Obviously, with consumer laws and so on, we have to provide at least 6 months worth of warranty. And I think the number one concern for anyone buying a supercar is, okay, yes, I may have the £250,000 to £500,000 to buy the car, but then what about the maintenance costs? Something like a gearbox going on a McLaren will cost £25,000, and something like something as small as a water pump or a spark plug change could cost tens of thousands of pounds. So we need to make sure that whichever warranty provider we work with, we know for the 6 months we're not going to have the headache of having to then cover the costs of something going wrong. People looking from the outside in will see, us having a busy month, let's say, for example, and they just think each car that we're selling is just hunky-dory, right? Yeah. All that profit is being made, and what they don't actually get to see is the true extent of actually, no, 1 second. Yeah.
How many times that we can check a car fully, it looks perfect on its way out, and then a couple of weeks later get a call from a customer.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly that. So part of the process is that's where AutoGuard came on board, as we needed someone that we could trust, but it's a lot more than that. So you have to do a pre-purchase inspection to make sure the car's good enough for our stock, and then prior to the car going out, it would have a PDI or a pre-warranty claim check. So they'll check, it's almost like an 111 or 150-point check. You guys would know better. But once we do this, then we put the warranty on the car. Unfortunately, mechanical things, they can go wrong. No matter how many times you check them, there's always a chance that something can go wrong with the car, which is then where the warranty company comes in. And as an insurance, they will cover the cost of getting the car repaired.
Okay, so guys...
As well as taking the strain away from GVE.
Yeah. I mean, look, as far as a dealership goes, we used to, it's almost like Russian roulette, right? But back in the day, when we first started, we were like, bloody hell, I'm not going to spend that much on a premium for a warranty, external warranty. Why don't we just give our own warranty, right? And then suddenly, some cars go right, and then suddenly you end up with a massive bill on some cars. And it's just, I'd much rather be able to say, okay, I can predict the future in some shape or form, right? So that we're not having to get nasty surprises all the time. And, but tell us a little bit more about AutoGuard. What do you guys do as a warranty provider? Is it mainly, do you mainly work with independent dealers like us? Or
AutoGuard now is a global company, so we now work with individual dealers, we work with manufacturers, and we work with franchises.
Okay.
And there's a variety of different products available.
All right.
And every single product can be tailored to each individual dealership depending upon their particular needs, as we have done with GVE.
Okay. A warranty can be anything from what, like 6 months to 3 years? Or
Believe it or
like
not, some dealers in the marketplace give 30 days, despite the fact that their legal obligation is 6 months. So
Okay.
30 days, 3 months, 6 months.
So they'll give 30 days,
Yes,
even though the legal obligation is 60.
correct.
But what if something happens outside the 30 days?
Well, they're still liable, but it depends on the individual dealership as to what they and how they do.
So they're taking a bit of a gamble.
they're taking the risk.
Okay.
I'm guessing they'll just close the doors and run away.
There's an element of that, George, yeah, that they don't answer the phone after a car's been out for 30 days.
Yeah.
But that's not customer. Don't answer the phone after a car's been out for 30 days.
Yeah.
But that's not customer service, is it?
You mentioned something there briefly that you work with manufacturers as well. I never realised that. How does that work? Because I thought manufacturers would then underwrite their own warranties, or is that...
Yeah, but what they do is underwriting warranties is one thing, but actually what they do is they move the operation of the warranty to a separate company like ourselves, so we'll do the administration for them. So we work with other manufacturers on that basis.
And then you guys will pay out for any of their work?
Yeah, basically we work on their funds, etc. for them, so we'll just pay out and manage the claim for them, because one thing about a claims department they're very good at, professionally, is assessing what's needed on each car. They have a pool of years of knowledge, access to all the information, and we're not looking singularly in a particular location. We're looking at a global and a national market, so we've got that much more information to present and to work with. So that's why they come to us for our expertise.
So how, from a business perspective, how does a warranty company, what's the nice way of putting it? What is the basis for a warranty company to make profit? So what do you guys do? You put a whole load of policies on X amount of cars with the anticipation that some are going to go wrong, and you'll have to pay out for the sum, but then the rest is going to be enough to cover your overheads and then profit.
Well, we're a business like everyone else.
Yeah.
So we take the largest proportion of what's given to us, which goes into underwriting, which is to cover future risk.
Yeah.
And then the balance is taken to pay for overheads and servicing our dealers, really, because we service at ground level.
And is business good?
It is very good, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, we're continually growing organically, which is everyone's bonus. You know, you'd like to grow organically, growing at a very good rate. But also, in addition to that, we are subject to the whims of what dealers do. So if the marketplace becomes a little bit quiet, we're only as busy as our dealers are.
Oh, got it.
So we can only influence so much.
Fine.
This might be a bit of a sensitive question, but...
Bit of a curveball.
Would you say you guys are profitable at the moment? Because you pay... I'm guessing most claims that come through, you guys would pay out. And, I mean, we haven't gotten to the point of how much it costs to have a premium, but sometimes your claim limits go up to £10,000 or £15,000, and that's per claim, and multiple claim limits up to the vehicle value. Mm-hmm. I mean, would you guys say you're profitable at the moment?
We are profitable, yeah. We are profitable and have continually been so for a number of years, and will continue to be, because the business model is that we are continually evaluating the market and each individual dealer's performance, and we like to work with our dealers to keep things adjusted and in proportion all the time.
So let's say, for example, there's one particularly problematic car, right? And make and model. The premium that you charge on that particular car, given your experience now, will be higher, right?
Yes.
Okay, fine. So what's that car? No, okay.
There are a number of cars in the marketplace that provide maintenance challenges. Let's put it that
Headaches,
way.
right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's break it down into luxury. So let's look at the luxury segment, and we'll look at the supercar segment in a second. But we'll tell you from our perspective, and you can maybe
Confirm
agree
or deny.
or disagree. So we see in the luxury segment, I'd say Range Rovers go bad quite often.
Yeah, I think it's quite common. You find not so much the modern ones, I think slightly older ones, Range Rovers, And then from the supercar side of things, McLarens are quite notoriously known to go wrong.
Yeah.
With McLarens, it's funny. I find that if you use the car, then they are pretty reliable. But it's the ones that get parked up for ages and the seals tend to dry up. And
especially the early ones, right?
the early ones, exactly. Yeah, I mean, we've got to a point now where we just don't sell 12Cs anymore.
Well, McLaren at one point, and I don't know if it's still the case, but 12C 650Ss, they weren't taking them back because was it something to do with the fact that they knew when they wanted to sell them on, they were finding it hard to warranty them or something like that?
So McLaren, when they were buying their cars back, they have to do a report to make sure that they'll put their own warranty on the car.
Yeah.
And I think this is what I heard, that when 12Cs they were buying it back, their average cost to put the car back to McLaren approved standard was coming up to £20,000 or £30,000, which in today's market value is almost 50% of the car value. So it's like, what's the point of them doing that? So
it's uneconomical, isn't it?
yeah.
So they won't take them back.
They won't take them back, and now I think they're doing the same thing with 650s as well.
Oh, well, we've decided the same kind of policy, which is,
It's funny enough because we get quite a lot of lead from dealers, and I look after a particular dealer who looks after one manufacturer, and he actually will inform me, I'm not buying these cars anymore. So we get a lot of feedback both ways, but we get a lot of stats as well at our end to see what's working well in the market, what cars are more problematic, shall we say.
What car was that? He said he's not buying back.
Well, it's difficult to say, but
Supercar
have
brand?
a guess. No, it wasn't a supercar, it would have been a
Okay.
luxury car.
Okay.
He just deals in one range, but it's a certain model that he's just
He
stopped
just
buying
won't
now.
touch.
Yeah,
Keep going, you might narrow him down.
I'm working on it, yeah. But yeah, no, McLaren's is a funny one. So mentioning earlier, we had a 650S Spider that we sold. And like I'm saying, no matter how many checks you do, you can make sure the car's running perfectly fine. And it goes out and it's perfect. But then after 30 odd days, customers complaining the gearbox isn't working and the gears aren't changing. That's like number one nightmare for any McLaren owner, because you're thinking gearbox change on a McLaren is 25,000 just for the gearbox alone, minus the labour.
Yeah.
So I think that's when you guys stepped in with the warranty on with AutoGuard, and you said get the car back in to GVE. So one thing that's good to know as well is you guys offer a roadside assistance with all of the warranties.
You do, yeah. With your program, you have it.
Yeah. So the car got collected, brought back to us, and Bruce managed to recondition the gearbox. And if something as small as the seal dries up and then it leaks oil, and then suddenly the gearbox thinks, okay, it's leaking oil, we can't, it starts throwing up a fault.
Limp mode or something like that.
And then McLaren actually don't make their own gearboxes. So if you go back to McLaren, they'll say, we can't repair the gearbox. It's actually made by a company called ProDrive.
It's just like sealed unit, they say, or something like that, right?
Sealed unit. We're not allowed to open it up. We can't do anything. You just have to replace the whole thing. And then you see the likes of Bruce downstairs. He'll take however long it takes him, but he'll open it up, and it's like a £3 or £4 seal that goes around. I think it's very labour intensive, but
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
To get to it,
Yeah.
for sure.
but then a minor part that he's changing, and you're thinking you're about to spend £25,000 to £30,000 to change this gearbox, and it's done essentially for free for the client because they've got a warranty on the car.
Yeah.
Got warranty. I think this is the thing. There's a combination of ways that we can approach something now, and I think that's the benefit of what we offer, right? Alongside a warranty, the fact that we have an independent workshop, which then looks for alternatives rather than computer says no, take out the gearbox, put a new one in.
Yeah, essentially, it's very, very necessary to be aware of what alternatives there are.
Right.
Because if you go straight to a main dealer or a manufacturer, it's normally just replacement.
Yeah.
Straight in, straight out. Where coming to you, where you've got a lot more varied expertise, you can look at it from a different perspective.
Yeah.
Think, how can we solve it rather than... And we've come across some really strange things over the years where diagnosis has been by the manufacturer, the solution to this is 2 new control units.
Yeah.
Underneath the seat of the car, I won't mention the manufacturer.
Yeah.
£18,000 for 2 control units.
Wow.
Place them in. Problem still there.
No.
Turns out it's 2 fuses for £40.
Oof. Was there any recourse?
That's the main dealer.
Was there any recourse?
Well, that's still undergoing at the moment, I think.
Oh
but
my goodness.
that just gives you an indication of when you can go in and put your hands in the main the hands of a main dealer, and they'll just do the normal diagnosis and think it's replacement elements, when actually looking at a little bit more detail, you'll find that it's something not quite as bad.
Like we were mentioning, Range Rovers and McLarens are quite problematic. Do you guys see the same kind of thing with those manufacturers?
Oh, we do have more challenges with those particular manufacturers, yeah. But
really, okay. Any examples of like any Range Rovers with low mileages that have gone wrong, or McLarens? And
it'd be unfair to sort of pin a tag on a particular manufacturer. We've had an instance where a vehicle that's done very, very, very low mileage, like 3,000 miles,
Range Rover,
a vehicle.
That looks like
driven
a Range Rover.
It's driven down the road, and within 60 miles, unfortunately, the cam shaft has let go.
Wow! And
well,
then,
unfortunately, that's an internal element to the engine, and requires.
So, how much would the service centre have charged?
Anywhere between £12,000 or £20,000, £12,000 to £20,000 for the replacement engine.
And so, this customer would have had a AutoGuard warranty on it,
place to do it,
and then he's gone and paid. He's paid how much for his premium in the year?
On this particular dealer, actually, it was included.
Okay, fine.
But that sort of premium would cost about £2,500.
£2,500 he's kind of paid, versus 15 to 20 grand he would have had to pay if he hadn't.
It's about making provision for the unexpected. Really, that's what we're talking about.
It really is. Go on.
So, what's your average claim limit then? Because if that went to £20,000, I mean, what is it that you guys do on average? So we do 10 to 15 on most supercars.
It's probably better to step back and say, and every area is slightly different, but if you take the supercar market, the average sort of claim element is somewhere, average claim sits somewhere between £1,000 and £1,400, believe it or not. But actually then that's slightly lower, then slightly higher, depending upon the product, the component that goes wrong.
What are some really common things that you know, like your customers will think that is covered on a warranty, but it actually isn't?
Servicing. No. I have had that before.
Yeah.
Discs and pads?
Yeah.
Disc and pads. Right. But so is it basically anything wear and tear, right?
Yeah, anything that's serviceable is not covered, really.
Yeah.
So anything that you would actually care to replace on periodic servicing, it's not a covered item, it's just a serviceable item.
But even, let's say, discs, we've seen how much discs can cost sometimes, right? And, you know, like ceramic discs can last a very, very long time.
They've got a good life expectancy.
But suddenly, while you're driving down the road, something smacks it. Or
It's a stone caught or something of that nature.
And then chips it, and now suddenly, but you wouldn't cover that.
That's not covered under a warranty, unfortunately. That's a serviceable item, but it's more falls more under sort of road risk,
right?
More than
you cover calipers though, right? So if the caliper seizes,
we cover calipers, yes.
Okay, because that's quite a common problem I found with especially PCCBs. The caliper seizes, the piston gets stuck, and then it makes like this knocking noise. I've had it so many times on GT product cars, and funny enough, the main dealer will tell them to replace all of the ceramic discs, and then the cars come back to us, and we've said it's just one stud that gets seized. You have to replace the caliper.
This is where our claims team comes in. Just say the car doesn't come back to GVE, and to help manage the customers' costs as well. If the claim doesn't cover everything, our guys are pretty good at making sure that what we are going to replace and repair and cover under the claim is spot on. So we're very good at that.
So you've got manufacturers that offer extended warranties. Like, let's say, for example, Ferrari offers the power warranty, right? And then the customer at that point gets to choose, right? Do I extend my 488 warranty with Ferrari directly, or do I get an external warranty like yourselves, right? At the top level of your packages, why is there any major difference between yours and going direct to manufacturer? Because there is one strikingly big difference, and that is the price.
Yeah.
What else is there?
Essentially, nothing really. Ours is as comprehensive as a manufacturer's. And I'll give you an example here. I was recently asked to provide a warranty for a LaFerrari
Oh, wow.
because Ferrari wouldn't warranty it
Why?
because they wouldn't provide the cover for batteries.
With the battery on that is how much?
Quite expensive, 130,000.
Oh, that's pretty expensive battery.
Yeah. Hybrid battery.
And I think that comes down to a lot of owners potentially wouldn't use the conditioning facilities that are provided with the car while it's at rest, and not by keeping the batteries conditioned, having a battery conditioner on it all the time. A lot of people never use that properly.
Ah.
It's interesting you just mentioned that. So, with real life scenario, yesterday we just sold a Ferrari FF, and the seller who was selling it through us had this major sales point. He was like, this needs to go for top money because I've got a year's Ferrari power warranty left. And what he didn't realize is a Ferrari power warranty only covers the powertrain, so it covers the engine and the gearbox. Now, we've sold hundreds, if not thousands, of Ferraris, and I don't think I can ever recall one scenario where a Ferrari gearbox or a Ferrari engine's gone. That's pretty much the most solid thing within the car.
Touching wood.
Touch wood.
Next podcast is going to be
So
Ferrari FFs.
most of the time they haven't gone. But what I found in the likes of FFs, it's always minor electrical problems or pumps or minor things that tend to go, or axles, things like that. The rear gearbox axle to the rear, that's really common in the FFs. And funny enough, he turned around to the buyer and said, I don't like the Ferrari power warranty. I want you guys to give me your warranty. So he paid for the extended 12-month warranty on the car through you guys.
Yeah.
And it's funny to say because you're asking for the difference. This guy actually opted to go for an AutoGuard warranty over a Ferrari power warranty.
having
for that very
read
reason.
into.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Wow.
Yeah, our platinum warranty is very much in line with an extended manufacturer's warranty with a few added extras as well.
Interesting today because I think everyone,
It's perception sometimes. Isn't
anyone
it?
who doesn't really do their research and they're a new supercar buyer, because we come across a lot of first-time or second-time buyers, naturally they would think buying from a main dealer or having a manufacturer warranty on the car is essentially the safest way to own a supercar.
Indeed.
But when you come across someone who's owned a car and they've had a Ferrari power warranty on it and they've taken it in because the parking sensors keep going off, or the engine's going into limp mode, which is in relation to an ECU problem.
Yep.
And Ferrari turn around and say, sorry, you've got this bill of £8,000 for you to cover. And
It's not covered.
Yeah, and it's not, Ferrari power warranty doesn't cover this.
No.
Almost makes them think that, hold on a second, buying it through the main dealer is probably not the safest way.
I'll tell you what that does highlight, George. Sorry, it does highlight the fact that a lot of customers don't actually read the detail of their programs, warranty programs. They'll take a warranty from Ferrari and think it's all-encompassing. But until they read it, they don't realise it actually doesn't give them what they think it gives them.
No.
And if we could do one thing, as we would say to customers, please take the time to read the documentation that you get, because it's quite revealing, especially when you look at the detail. You can see how much more coverage it does provide.
I mean, the other major thing is in order to get one of these warranties, McLaren warranty, Ferrari warranty, it has to go in, they have to do their check. And then when they're going to replace the stuff, they're not shy of saying, okay, you're going to need to replace £10,000 worth of stuff, right? Whereas when we put the same car up on the up in the service centre down here, they're like, no, well, look, actually, that's not that bad. That's got a lot more life left in it. This, that, and the other.
We use what we call a road use justification. So therefore, you look at it and make a judgment call and think, well, no, that's okay.
Yeah,
It's not worn out.
I mean, I don't begrudge them because at the end of the day, they're trying to make profit, right?
They're looking for work, aren't they?
They need. As much
It's interesting because I think that's their their factory making the money by offering parts. But it's not very labour intensive replacing something. Whereas the guys down here, likes of Bruce and so on, if he reconditions something or actually fixes a component, it may be a lot more labour intensive, but it saves thousands of pounds.
Sometimes tens.
Yeah, tens of thousands.
Yeah.
So it's funny you were saying that someone had a McLaren 720S and he wanted a McLaren warranty on there. He took it to McLaren for them to put do a pre-warranty check. Came up with a bill of something ridiculous like £35,000. needed new
In
suspension.
order to get the warranty on the car, he had to spend 35 grand.
35 grand up front.
Unjustified, isn't it, really?
So it was like he had to change the suspension, he had to change a whole lot of, I can't remember exactly what it was, but that car then came in for an inspection down here. It's actually still currently downstairs. And turns out the suspension component, which McLaren would charge £6,000 for each suspension, it's just the coil which was rusted. The coil you can get from a specialist, you can't get from McLaren because they don't sell it, but from a specialist, the exact same coil you can get for £100 to £200. So
It's a huge difference.
It's another example,
Yeah.
isn't it, of diagnosis and the ability to find fault.
Well, look, the most extreme example of it is the Bugatti Veyron, right?
yeah,
That's hilarious. I mean, you must have seen some of the videos that we've done previously, but
Yeah,
it's
but not all the detail.
well, it's the fact that VW and Bugatti Veyron share parts, right? And just one comes with a very expensive price tag versus one that comes from Euro Car Parts down the road, and you're spending, a mere fraction of
What was
it.
the part?
Do you
there
know
was
the specifics?
so the recent time it was air mass sensors which actually come off in Audi, and the air mass sensors cost £2.50 each, and Bugatti were charging £4,500 for each sensor, and it's the
For
exact
each
same
sensor?
part. It doesn't say Bugatti on the sensor.
It's just
it
boxed
still says
differently.
VW, but it's just that it's being supplied by Bugatti, and they'll charge a ridiculous amount for it because they're Bugatti and they can.
That's unbelievable.
The funny thing was the first time round we bought one of the Veyrons. We sent it to Bugatti for an inspection, and it came back with a bill of 270 grand, something like that. And straight away we're thinking, okay, stay away from this car. Then, funny enough, the seller who was trying to sell it said, hold on, let me take it to a specialist, let them have a look at it, give them a chance, let them do all the work. They done all the work, then sent the car back. They done all the work for £20,000. Sent the car back to Bugatti for them to do a health check, and they gave it a clean bill of health. Still have that same...
So I think we sent it to a different Bugatti.
Yeah. So it went to London first, then came back, and then we sent it up north to Sytner.
Yeah.
And they looked over and said, yep, car's completely fine. We'll put a warranty on this.
Unbelievable. 230 versus 20.
That's an insane difference. Insane difference.
Awareness.
With some of your cars, when you do, like you were saying, you had a LAF. I mean, how does your underwriting team exactly work out premiums?
Well, it's not perfect science. We look at the risk element that those cars are presented over that period of time, and they are categorised. We look at it, amount of claims we've had on those particular models, and there is an element of greater risk, and you have to make a conscious decision based upon the information you've got. Sometimes it's limited, sometimes it's not.
And is all that information within AutoGuard, or do you look at external information too?
We have historical information which we've got data on, yes, which helps us put together premiums. And then that also works depending upon the dealer's profile as to what the dealer would sell. That influences the pricing that we put together. There's a number of factors involved in it, even down to fraud, to be fair.
That's interesting.
Because
fraud in what sense?
Fraudulent claims.
Okay, so how does that work? What do you define as a fraudulent claim?
Give you an example.
Please.
The claim comes in from a repairer, dealer. Vehicle needs a new gearbox. Okay, good relationship with the dealer. We do our due diligence with the items that we need to approve the claim. The system throws up an audit check with the customer, which it does randomly from time to time. So we ring the customer up saying, we just want to talk to you about your particular fault. What fault? We're in Spain and our car's is locked in the garage.
Oh.
So wait, sorry, who put the fraudulent claim through? The customer
dealer,
or
the dealer.
Oh, wow.
So unfortunately, this is one of these items and areas fortunately, it's diminishing now, but it affects the amount you have to pay for claims because the good dealers pay for the bad dealers.
And does that ever happen with the customers as well? Do you ever have customers
can be very creative, yes.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, they would.
Any instances?
Not that I'd really like to quote, but yes, there's been a number.
He doesn't want to give the game away.
I mean, you're not going to give the customer
I'm a
name.
good poker player, by the way.
No, I mean, like, what if he tells somebody how to do it?
All right, then you get a whole load of these claims come through.
You mentioned the LaFerrari. So did you put the warranty on the car?
No, we didn't in the end. No.
What do you mind saying how much the warranty premium would have been?
5,500.
5.5 grand
Yeah.
for a year.
But there was a capped claim limit for
Of?
25,000.
Okay,
So it was a
25 grand.
contribution towards the
Okay.
cost of anything like that happen. So
But could it go higher?
it could go. It's all relative to price.
Okay, so
really.
you don't essentially you don't put a cap on the claim limit, providing that the premium goes up as well.
It has to be relative. Yeah,
Yeah.
there are certain instances where we perhaps wouldn't take a risk on a particular vehicle. We'd step back and say, look, we couldn't do that, or we could only offer X, Y, Z.
Okay.
But we'll make a balanced decision depending upon the dealer and the support levels, etc.
So on the LaFerrari, it's let's call it a coupe, delivery mileage coupe. That's worth about 2.7, 2.8 million in today's market. And you guys say that you will multiple claim limits up to the vehicle value is your guys' policy. Would that still be the case on the
It
LaFerrari?
would be that, yeah.
So you would pay up to 2.7 or 2.8 million.
Sounds
with claims.
horrifying, doesn't it? We wouldn't. Yeah.
Yeah, but
It doesn't happen because it
That-
normally expires before that because the vehicle really doesn't probably get used very often. So you say multiple claims, yes, that's our exposure limit. But in essence, it's, yeah.
you'd have to be a very unlucky guy for that many things to
There'd have
go
to be a lot-
wrong,
yeah, a lot
and
of
that many
cla-
different things
Yeah,
to
you
go
do.
wrong
A
on
lot
one
of
car.
recurring claims coming in on that one, that's for sure.
Okay.
But it's all about risk and, provisioning for what we anticipate the risk to be.
So, guys, there must be the odd occasion where a client calls up and he wants something covered under the warranty when he knows full well actually it shouldn't be covered under the warranty. Do you have any experiences of that?
Yeah, I'll give you an example. We've had an example where a customer's been claimed for an engine, got a problem with his engine.
An engine that couldn't have been cheap.
No, it's quite expensive. I think it was sitting around £25,000 or £30,000. The best way, that was the best way. But it turns out that unfortunately driven it through water.
Oh my God.
So the induction system had just drawn all the water in and subsequently destroyed the engine.
Destroyed the engine, and obviously that's not covered under
No,
warranty.
It's not technically. It's a road risk. Then it becomes an insurance issue rather more than a warranty issue.
How did you find out he drove it through water?
It was told to us by the technicians that started to take it apart. There was mud and water in every sort of intake, so it became apparent at the end of the day that's what it was.
Crazy.
And then do you not have to provide proof that it's not covered because it's driven through water? What would the
Well,
proof be?
we unfortunately at that point we have to decline the claim because actually it's due to certain circumstances. We will in certain instances ask an inspector to go and check it, but
Yeah.
it wasn't necessary in this case.
Cool. Okay, guys, thank you so much for coming today. That was really
you.
informative. I think
Hopefully you got a few snippets.
in conclusion, I think it's a no-brainer. If you're buying a car that has, that is so expensive, 200 grand, 250 grand, but even if you're buying a car that's 50 grand or 100 grand, right? At any point, anything can go wrong, especially, you need to have that in your mind, especially when the manufacturer's warranty has expired, that you should always think, how do I keep it safe? How do I ensure that I minimize my maintenance costs year after year? And, using a company like yourselves is really good. We certainly have good experiences with yourselves, so couldn't recommend you enough. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. And we hope you liked this podcast. Like, share, and subscribe. Until next time.